People ask me what I am. They expect me to say Pakistani or British Pakistani. I say Mancunian first. I love Manchester.
What do you love the most?
When I come back into the grey, dark, miserable, rainy Manchester, I feel at home.
Hello, Mrs. Khan. Hello, Nani Jan.
We've got to choose a colour for the bedroom for when we're married. What do you think of that one?
It's nice. What about my bedroom?
Talk to me a little bit about the Citizen Khan and what was your role?
In 2011, I was cast for that and people really loved it. I'd never seen anything like it at that point in my life, where people were belly laughing. If I'm out on a meal with my wife and someone comes up and goes, "Hey, Amjad, where's Shazia? Does Shazia know about this woman?" I'm like, yeah, what's wrong with you? I'm with my wife. I remember I went to the airport, right? He said to me, at this point he's in my groin area, and he looks up to me and he goes, "Shazia."
Talk to me a little bit about Pakistani-British representation in the media.
It's getting a lot better, but I do think it's diluted. They paid me to write a series. It's so frustrating because I write one that's true to my upbringing and they say, "Why don't you just write about something you know?" I said, "This is what I know." They went, "No, you know, what you know."
What are they expecting?
My dad's a terrorist, my sister's a lesbian, and so my dad beat her to death. Arranged marriage, grooming, this is what they want.
Like still in this time and age when...
Still.
How is the crowdfunding sort of area here? Like
Pakistani, the Pakistanis, isn't it?
they don't want to give money.
If I say to him, look, there's an orphan child in Pakistan, I reckon in 6 months I can get £1 million. But if I say to him, I need £1 million, I'm making a movie about Pakistan, they not only turn off, they come find me so they can beat me up. Do you know what I mean? There's very different priorities here.
And how's your comedy world? Can you make like a proper money in that as a full-time job?
The thing about the comedy scene is there's very little right-wing interference. Very easy to express yourself. If you give them comedy, they're happy. When I was growing up, I could not think of one Muslim stand-up comedian, not one. And now I know all of them and their friends.
How do you see the Pakistani and then a British Pakistani and then a Muslim identity?
What you've just said is what comedians would go out and say on stage. Like, this is, and they would explain it and they would make it into a joke. We're comfortably Muslim, comfortably British. We just bring it all together. That's one thing that worries me though.
In this episode, I sat down with Abdullah Afzal, a British Pakistani comedian known for his role in BBC series Citizen Khan. We talked about his journey growing up in a Desi family. Abdullah also discussed about the representation of British Muslims and Pakistanis in the British media, the challenges of production and funding, and his own experiences balancing faith, career, and comedy. A special thanks to One Homes for supporting this episode. They are the only developers in Pakistan who are building homes exclusively for the diaspora community. It's important work helping people to stay connected with their roots in a meaningful way. Abdullah, thank you so much for taking the time out. I'll be very honest. For the audience and for you, I don't know much about you. One of our common friend, your cousin and my very dear friend, a British Pakistani. I don't know if you can call him British Pakistani.
He's now, I think he's Pakistani with a British passport, that's it.
Yeah. Isa, we'll tag him. He makes really funny videos. We'll talk about his work as well. So he introduced me to you when I was planning to come to UK. So he was like, you should meet Abdullah, you know. So you are a British Pakistani comedian.
Yeah.
Before we go into your work, so maybe talk to me a little bit about your background. So you were born here. You were not...
No. I was born here, bred here. Very religious family.
In Manchester?
In Manchester, all my life. Manchester,
Okay.
Love it. I'm a Mancunian. When people ask me what I am, you know, they expect me to say Pakistani or British Pakistani. I say Mancunian first. I'm very. I love my city. I love Manchester. I think it's.
What do you love the most?
Do you know what? I love everything about Manchester. It's not too busy. It's not too quiet. Everything you need is here. You know, the best restaurants are here. Everything's close. Travel, the airport. Even if you want to go to the other cities, local cities like Bradford and stuff, the around the corner. Amazing city. Again with a bad name, Bradford. My football team, Manchester United, unfortunately, something that we don't want to talk about at the moment because they're having a very bad time.
Yeah.
But again, that's one of the things that I love about it. And all my friends, family here. You know, wherever you're from, you end up loving that city. And that's just Manchester. Whenever I'm away from Manchester, I've done a lot of work abroad and I just miss it. I can't. Every time I make plans, okay, I'm going to move to Dubai or I'm going to move to Doha. And he starts telling me to move to Islamabad. even if I go on holiday there after a week, I need to come back to Manchester.
So you love the city that much?
I love the city.
What do you love the most? Like if I ask you, okay, what are the top 3 things or 5 things?
Manchester?
Yeah.
Do you know what? That's the hard thing. When I come back into the grey, dark, miserable, rainy Manchester, I feel at home. It's just that feeling of, I think I look for comfort wherever I am. And when I go to these places abroad, the weather is absolutely beautiful. That's amazing. And I always think, it'd be amazing to live here. But I don't feel like I'm in a safe place for myself. I can't explain it. The safest countries in the world, Dubai, there's no crime. Over here, I've been mugged several times. But I just feel I'm in my place. I feel like I've got a place that's my own. And I think I've got so many connections here, family, friends, memories that I find very hard to let go of.
And when you were growing up, so thoda sa bachpan ka if you can tell, so where did you done your schooling and college from?
I was a bad kid, so I went to school locally. Cheetham Hill, the area that I'm from, it's very working class. A lot of poor people, a lot of poverty in Cheetham Hill. A lot of the immigrants came from Pakistan, Bangladesh, Somalia. At the time as well, Malaysia, Indonesia came to study. They were all in Cheetham Hill.
It's quite a mix.
Very mixed. There was a very working class white community there as well. And there was a very working class black community there as well. But we all lived in pockets. It wasn't mixed. So we'd have this area Pakistani, this area white, this area black. It was a bit like that. And there was racial tension because a lot of the streets, we were told as Pakistanis, don't go there. The white people, they don't like you.
Are they like a far right or generally like a...
They were just racist. No, they were racist, but it was just, they didn't know any better. They were uneducated, poor people that turned to crime and blamed the immigrants on a lot of things, even then, which was 30 years ago. And there were times when, I remember when I went to a Pakistani takeaway to get a cheeseburger, I was 10 years old. And it was on the corner of the Pakistani area and the white area. And I went in there and a load of white kids walked in and they started beating me up. And the Pakistani man that was behind the counter, he went to the back and hid. He didn't help me. They were scared. He was an immigrant as well. They were scared. And there was a lot of that. But now there's been a huge change. The communities have kind of come more closer together. And I think a lot of those working class white people that were in the area as well have kind of, the younger generation were more educated and they've realized that the immigrant isn't the enemy, that it's the people sat at the top, the governments and stuff. And they've kind of brought us more together. So that's one of the things I love about Manchester as well. There is a feeling, when the Manchester bombing happened in 2017, it was on my birthday.
Okay.
I was out eating with my wife and it was like we felt something and heard something and a lot of shouting and blah, blah, blah. And the first thing in my head wasn't, oh no, it's people are going to think it's us because I'm Muslim, or I thought, is anyone I know been hurt? It was, we were thinking as Mancunians, and then my other relatives who own a taxi company, the first thing they did was offer free taxis to everyone, get them home. My local masjid opened up the doors for everyone at the concert to come there, find their families, have some tea, drink, get safe, safe space. And that time, it was really interesting because in Manchester, it felt like we were all in it together, that we were all together against this absolute imbecile that caused these, killed so many innocent people. But then when you went to the media, it was all about the Muslims are dangerous. These people are dangerous. Look what they're doing. But inside, we were together. And coming back to the question about loving Manchester, it's that we're all a family in Manchester. We all love and care for each other. And that's a very difficult thing to get anywhere in the world. And that's why it's so special.
And how was it growing up in a Desi family? So your parents moved here in 1960s?
60s, yeah.
Because they were like a proper Pakistanis. Like I'm sure maybe still like they their genes, because when I talk to people like who came in 60s and even 70s, wo abhi bhi aapko lagta nahi hai ki they are like, any sort of like British Pakistani. They're like pure Pakistani with Punjabi and Urdu and like everything is like too Desi. So how was it like, in your family and in your also in your cousins and uncles growing up, and obviously I'm sure there must be a lot of identity crisis as well, because I remember when I was, maybe it's not the right thing to say, but like when I was studying in Hertfordshire, and I graduated 2016. So when I was looking a lot of British Pakistanis, because we were I was from Pakistan, like two Pakistani, so we were calling them BBCDs,
Right. Okay.
Yeah. British won't confuse this is because sometimes they were like really Pakistani and suddenly they were like Goras, and like I was like, okay, which side are you guys? Obviously I was a bit ignorant at that time. That's not the right thing to say.
But it's hard. It's a hard balance. So my family were not only extremely Pakistani in their thinking, in the way they behaved, everything, but also extremely religious. My family were very, very religious.
And why did they move here?
Just my dad was 15 when he came here. Wow. 15 years old, he came here. Many people from the villages, especially in the Cheetham area where I'm from, a lot of the people are from villages around the Jhelum area, surrounding areas. So they came here just to find work, to do stuff, and they found works in factories and takeaways and whatever. And they all lived in one place. There was like 30 people in one house. That was a very Pakistani thing to do. They all lived together. And, my dad just told me stories of how, they had very little money, that they hardly ever had any meat or anything. It was always vegetable, the salons and rotis and stuff. And every now and again, they would go out and get fish and chips. And that was like a big treat. Mm-hmm. It's an English dish, isn't it? Here, fish and chips is something that people have on a Friday. But for them as well, they love their fish and chips, and that kind of became their culture. So they did take some bits, but it was confusing at times because I don't think I knew any white people apart from teachers at my school. So my school was fully Pakistani.
Okay,
maybe some Libyans in there, a little mix, but Muslim at least 99%. It was a Catholic school with 99% Muslim students and probably 70 to 80% white teachers. They were the only white people I knew, them and the ones that used to beat me up if you went in the wrong area. That's it. So there wasn't a chance for us to really learn a new identity. We were just who we were. We were Pakistani kids living in England. So it wasn't until we get older and then we went to high school. And then high school, suddenly there was a 60-40% split, 60% Pakistani, 40%, other, including a lot of white people. And then you get to see their side and talk to them. And I remember personally that I thought I sounded very English. I thought people won't be able to tell I'm Pakistani because I'm very English in everything I do. And then I got my first TV job at the age of 16. The writer was talking to me and he was telling me how to say my lines. And he said, say, why don't you say to the camera, of course, I'll go get the paper. I said, what are you doing? I said, I don't sound like that. He goes, yeah, you do. I go, no, I don't. So to them, I sounded really Pakistani. They could tell as soon as I spoke, they knew I was Pakistani. And it's just, I thought I had like I was invisible, like I had a pure English accent.
But how was it? How was it in a school? Because the teachers were the Goras, and obviously they were also not the Goras who really understand the Desi culture as well. And you were coming from a home where it's 200% Pakistan, like Punjabi and all of it, and then coming to the school, sitting with the kids. Unke bhi parents more or less usi tarah ke the, but you guys were also feeling like, no, but we are like a British kids or something. So how was it in the school time?
And I think in our school, we got very lucky because the teachers, they were on this kind of messiah complex where they thought they could save us from whatever we were going through in our Desi culture, because it was quite hard concept. There was a clash definitely of culture because we were very different, but they really made the effort to understand. And the main reason why I think in my school we got lucky was because my head teacher at the time, his name was Paul Barnes. He was a white Christian man who changed religion into Hindu, then into Sikh, tried Judaism, finally fell onto Islam, became a Muslim.
Wow.
So he was well cultured. He didn't have a racist bone in his body, and he was the head teacher. So the way he set up that school, I never once felt any sort of belittlement, any sort of racism. We just were cared for by the teachers and they really did their best for us. And they, even to a point where on Fridays, I would go and I would do the adhan. Kids would come to pray Jummah, and I would lead the salah as well.
In a school?
In a Catholic school. And to such an extent was this school so providing for us as Muslim Pakistani kids that a Channel 4 documentary team actually made a documentary, came to the school.
Wow.
And they had to choose 2 people to follow around. And they chose the head teacher that I just told you about and me. So they followed me into my family home, how we lived, everything. It was broadcast to the nation. And they got to see how we lived. And it was really interesting.
And what was your age?
10 years old.
Wow. And how was that media sort of experience? Because then you also moved into the world of media. And
well, they maybe shaped me because I loved it. And they used to tell, I think it was the producers, and they were like, you're a natural. You're brilliant. And they didn't used to give me much direction, because I used to see them and they used to talk to my dad or my brother or whoever. They would give them a lot of direction. Can you say it like this? Or can you not look at the camera? Can you look at me? But I was just, I knew straight away what I had to do. They never gave me much direction. They just let me go.
But you were also doing a bit of an acting over there as well?
Of course, yeah. I'm an entertainer. Naturally, I wanted to entertain them. If they weren't laughing, I was annoyed. So I had to try to get some sort of humor out of the situation. And yeah, that's when it opened up. But yeah, my primary school was fantastic. My high school was okay as well. But my high school, there was a lot more racism because there were so many mixed. We actually had little wars where the Pakistanis were fighting the white kids, and the white kids were fighting the black kids, and the black kids were fighting the Pakistanis again. And the worst part of that is the Pakistani kids thought I was white, so they were hitting me. The white kids knew I was Pakistani, so they were hitting me. And the black kids knew that I was either Pakistani or white, so they were hitting me. So I was getting it from everywhere.
And which side, like, you were on? Like,
I was Pakistani, so I fit in Pakistani. But in the midst of a battle, when you're just glancing, I don't know Pakistani, I was getting hit from everywhere. I remember I crawled under the table. It was in the maths block, and I crawled under the table thinking, I'm going to die here. And I looked to my side, and one of the white teachers was with me under the table. She was like, that's how bad it was at that point in the high school.
And then moving to the university life, how was the uni life?
I went into college next on Wimslow Road, which is like the Curry Mile, they call it here in Manchester. And that, I think, was the best time for me, because everyone was nice. It's as if everyone matured through the summer. So, I got to be friends with people from, white people. I had black friends. I even had a friend that was from Russia. So many. And we all got along, and we were all deciding what we wanted to be as we grew older. And I got to do drama. My family did not want me to do drama at any point. And this is a strange thing, because my mum passed away. They were worried about me, and they thought I need something. So they kind of allowed me, go on, just get it out of your system kind of thing. And
to study drama, you mean? Drama
in college. And the way the teacher responded to my acting, I felt so special. She was like, you're amazing. She goes, don't give this up. She goes, you're fantastic. And then I kind of didn't believe it. I just carried on with it. And the pupils around me, they were so supportive, like, oh my God, we want to be in your group. We want to be in your performance. You're so good, whatever. And
so you were a hero in that.
Yeah, and I never had that before. And the only place I had that before is I used to do Islamic speeches in the masjid. The Qari Sahib would write me a script, a speech, and I would go out and I'd perform and win. I'd win competitions. I'd go out and do dawah. That was what I knew. So when I went into this drama space, it's the first time I felt outside of the Muslim space. And I did an exam, practical. I had to play a 70-year-old white man in this play, and I was a 16-year-old Pakistani boy. And I got full marks, 100% marks. And an agent came and saw me, and they were like, you're fantastic and amazing. And then I started to believe that I won't tell my family properly, but I'm going to get into acting.
Where was the first sort of interest about the media started coming to you, that, okay, this is sort of a field which I can explore? Because I remember when I came here in 2011 and I went to my consultant that I want to go to UK, there was no as such degrees as well.
Yeah.
It was just like a general mass communication something. And I was like, I just want to go, just put me wherever you can, and then I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And then the video journalism, or I then studied film in my MA. I realized that these are all the fields and everything. But for you, like again, growing up in a Desi family, very multicultural, I'm sure there was sort of a pressure from family, like, doctor or engineer banna hai. But like then the acting kahan se shauq shuru hua?
I think when I was about 13, 14, I started messing about a lot. So I went from someone who was quite bright, doing well in school, to doing very badly in school, the clown of the class. I think it was just a hard time. Like I said, my mum got very ill with cancer and everything changed very quickly. And I kind of used that as an excuse to mess about a little bit more and explore. And then I got to do a theatre production in high school as well, just as a distraction because of what was happening at home. My brother said, you can go do it, whatever. So I did it. And again, the drama teacher at the time said, why are you not doing drama as a GCSE, which is the high school qualification? Why are you not doing it? You'd pass it with flying colours. And I just loved it and I did it. And the teachers then told me I could be an actor, but I never really believed it. But I was just not bothered. I think that the thing is, I wasn't a very ambitious person at that age. I just wanted to have fun and get through it. And I enjoyed doing acting. It was fun for me. I had a laugh doing it. But then when I got into college, when I started to realize I need to do something in the future, and agents were coming to watch me perform in college, and casting directors, and then telling me I'm very, very good, it kind of gave me a lift that, all right, 100%, I'm going to go for it, whatever it takes. And I'm not as ambitious now, because now I know the realities of the industry and the business, and I have to take a lot of risk, and I've got a family. But back then I didn't care. I just go for it. And there wasn't many Pakistani actors out there. Now there's loads. At that time there's very few. So,
and by the age of 16, you did your first sort of act.
Well, I did theatre in high school, just little plays. But when I got into college and I did that performance in the exam, and I got seen to be very good, I got cast into a BBC pilot episode. And I went and I did that, and I loved it. I thought, wow, I got paid, I think, £900, and I've never seen that much money in my life. I was like, what am I going to do with this money? What can I do with it? And so the money side was great straight away. But just being around people who are acting and being creative and funny, comedy, and I was just like,
what is this world, man?
This is amazing. I thought, I don't want this to end. I used to wake up next day and be so sad that we were closer to the end of a shoot.
Wow.
Like, I used to feel really upset. And I remember these are seasoned actors. I was working with people like Nigel Havers, who was like a huge star from the 70s and 80s, like a massive film star. And after the end, everyone just finished and went home. But I would message them saying things like, "You're like a brother to me. I've only been working for 3 weeks with them." They're probably like, "What is wrong with me?" But I felt like I had a connection to these guys that was different from the connection I had to everyone else. Everyone else, it was because we're Pakistani or because we're Muslim, it's family. This was like a different family. This was like, we had a creative love. That's when I knew I wanted to be an actor. All I wanted to do, I didn't care about anything else. I need to be an actor. I need to be on TV. But of course, as time went on, I knew that with that industry and with the way it works, there's a lot of sacrifices that you have to make. And unfortunately for me, the sacrifices were my identity at times, and the sacrifices were my beliefs at times. And that's when I had to peel back a bit.
Like, what do you mean? Like, what kind of sacrifices?
So there's certain things you can't say, certain things you can't do, and there's certain things that they want you to say and they want you to do that conflict with my beliefs as a Muslim.
But then if you're an actor, don't you think that's just an act?
There's a fine line, isn't it? Mm-hmm. It's a very blurred line.
Because they pick you very specifically or specially for this kind of...
No, I know if my friends that worked with me on this show watch it, they might get a bit annoyed, but I think it's important that we be honest. So I don't think it's a coincidence that after we finished Citizen Khan, which was a big BBC One TV series, I think it went out in Pakistan at some point. It went out in India, Kenya, everywhere. It was quite huge. When we left, we all were a Muslim family. We were a Muslim family in that show. Two of the females that left, the first thing they were offered, Muslim lesbian characters in soaps. So the first one went into Coronation Street, Muslim lesbian. The other one went into Hollyoaks, Muslim lesbian. Fantastic actors, fantastic people. And they both went Muslim in real life.
The daughters of...
Yeah,
okay.
But they both went Muslims in real life anyway. So they were actually, I think, Hindu and Sikh, I think they are, I'm not sure. So they went out and they did those parts. I also got offered a gay Muslim part in the soap. And at that time, I had a very good agent. And I said to the agent, I can't do that. I go, as a Muslim man, I don't feel comfortable. And he said, it's just acting. It's just acting. And I said, well, if I'm having to lock lips with another man, whether the camera's there or not, it's not something I can do. And then I said to him, I said, even if it was a woman, even if they wanted me to have intimate scenes with a woman, I wouldn't do it. It goes against what I've been raised as a Muslim. You know, I can't do it. And he said, you have to decide. You have to decide what's more important. That annoyed me. Because I thought, why? Why can't they just film a scene where it can look like maybe they kissed at some point, but you don't have to show it? But he didn't understand. And then it happened a few times. And then me and my agent, who was a very big agent, got into a conflict over it. That was some of the stuff. But then there were other things, like being told, I remember it was 2014, there was a big conflict, like there always is, Palestine, Israel. I got told specifically by somebody, I don't want to say the name because it could still ruin me even more. They said to me, don't tweet, don't mention anything about this at the moment. When he said that, I thought, I have to now. I have to. So I did that. And I got a very big telling off. Happening in 2017. At that point, someone called me, someone I respect and love a lot, even though I think she's in the wrong here.
From the industry or?
From the industry. Someone that's actually looked after me a lot. She rang me and she said to me, she goes, I've been with this person or that person, and they've mentioned that they're not happy with you at all. And they're going to actually take opportunities away from you here. So what I'd want you to do is, for the sake of, you're so talented, she was saying, you know, don't risk it. I want you to go back, delete the tweets you've done, and just apologize and say you understand. Say that you don't agree with them. You don't have to say you agree with them, but just say that you understand where they're coming from and just delete it. I said, I can't do that. She said, I can't protect you, I can't help you. After that, now, since I started acting 2010, there hasn't been a year where I've not been booked for a TV show or something. Soon as that call ended.
2017.
I believe it's the end of 2018, that call actually. I think it's the end of 2018, early 2019. I never, even once, was considered for another show for that TV channel again. Not once. Every time I was, where an independent production company cast me for something, before the shoot or even a little bit into the shoot, they'd say, oh, we've had a change of heart. We're going to change your character. He's going to be a black character now, or he's going to be this character, or it's going to be a lady now. But they still pay me. But they'd say, you know, we've had a change, a creative change, but it makes no sense. So
I feel like that was a deliberate.
I can never prove it, but I feel like the people at the top that have an issue with me now have found out that I'm in it and said, get rid of him. That's what I feel like. Because why would they pay so much money? And it got really upsetting. It really affected me. I got frustrated because I feel like I've been left behind and I can't do what I love. And that's when I decided to start doing what I'm doing now, Muslim space, Muslim comedy. Muslim audiences come out, they pay, you know, and that's my career at the moment because TV is limited now for me. I do the pantomime. I do a Muslim pantomime. Do you know what pantomime is?
No.
So a pantomime is a very British thing. It's like a audience interaction play. So they do Cinderella, Snow White, Aladdin, but the audience can shout. So if someone's coming behind, they shout, he's behind you, and they talk to the audience, break the fourth wall. It's a very British tradition. So what we started doing was Muslim panto. So I wrote and directed and starred in Cinda Alia. So Cinderella, we turned to Cinda Alia. I did Beauty and the Blah. So Beauty and the Beast, we did Beauty and the Blah. Hilarious, a lot of Desi songs in the Nasheeds in it. You know, the princesses are hijabis. This year I'm doing Snow Brown. You know, this is kind of what my career has become now. And people come out and it's become a thing for the people to come out every year to come to these shows. So they wait for it every year. And also we raise millions of pounds for charity. So it's kind of, everything's kind of come together. Is it what I want to do for the rest of my life? No, I want to be in TV. I want to be filmed. I've written films. I've written TV. I'm ready to do it. But you don't have the support of a corporation or someone with money, it's very difficult to get.
So if we go back a little bit, I think the first time I have seen Citizen Khan was when I was in uni.
Okay.
And I think I was not like someone was watching everything, but I think I have seen like few episodes and I was like, what kind of a representation of a British Pakistani is this? And I was not a British Pakistani, but still, I was living here and I was like, that's just like a bit, it was like funny, but it was a bit like too much in some ways. Like you're making a perception of a community through that, like such a big show. So talk to me a little bit about the Citizen Khan. Ek to ye shuru kab hua, for the people who don't know much about it, and what was your role?
So Citizen Khan, in 2011, I was cast for that, and I was very young, 21 years old. And it was, at that time, it was just showcases. So we would go out and do it in theatres just to test the waters. And people really loved it. It was a little bit more, it wasn't as extreme then, if you know what I mean.
In what kind of, in front of what kind of an audience?
Like a diverse.
Okay. It was mixed, not...
Mixed audience. And people would laugh so much, they would be I'd never seen anything like it at that point in my life, where people were belly laughing. I said, okay, we'll make it into a BBC One series. My first, it was huge for me. Massive for me because the show I did before that was BBC Three, maybe getting 250,000 views if we're lucky, to something that will get 5 million views a week. So I went into it and
what was your role?
I was playing the son-in-law Amjad. He's very dopey, slow, doesn't know what's going on half the time. And when I went into audition for that, he was supposed to be from Birmingham and have a really strong Birmingham accent and, be really dopey like that. But I couldn't do that. I went in and I just did a really innocent, strange accent. I went in and, hello, sir, how are you? And for some reason it worked and they liked it and they took me on. There was at one point a conversation about browning me up. That was their issue with it, which was quite funny. But then we went into it and there were some scenes when I thought, is that offensive? Are people going to get offended by that? But then there were so many senior people around it that I thought, surely they know better than me. I'm a 21-year-old kid. These are like seasoned professionals. And then the day before it came out, I got a feeling in my gut that I think a lot of people are not going to like this. I remember feeling it. And there was a lot. So there was a lot of people that just love it, like they're obsessed with it. Our people, Muslims, Pakistanis, white people, everyone. But then there's a group of people that despise it, hate it. And it was like that all the way through. So the first year was quite controversial because there was a few scenes that Islamically as well, a bit, but then it got more for children as it went along. So we started losing some people from this side who enjoyed it because it was controversial. And we started getting people from this side who didn't like it because it was controversial. So we just had different audiences and mixes, but it went for a long time, 5 seasons, 4 Christmas specials.
And you were across all of...
Every episode throughout the thing. It was a big learning curve for me as well. It was very difficult with the fame that came with it at the time because I always wanted fame. Then when I got it, I did not.
Like why?
Don't like it.
Like in what way?
I like fame if I'm out and about and someone comes up to me and says, Assalamu alaikum, or hello, how are you? Really enjoyed doing that show. Can we get a picture? Of course, brilliant. Thank you so much. What I don't like is if I'm out on a meal with my wife and someone comes up and goes, hey, Amjad, where's Shazia? Does Shazia know about this woman? I'm like, yeah, what's wrong with you? I'm with my wife. Oh, where's Shazia then? And you know what I started to say? She's dead.
People do that?
Yes, unbelievable.
I still cannot even believe what you're saying.
And they say it in places. I remember I went to the airport, right? They're searching me. He's searching me. At this point, he's in my groin area. And he looks up to me and he goes, Shazia.
Wow.
What are you supposed to do? I get it all the time. So many weird. And the worst thing is people say things and they say it wrong. It's not even, they'll come up to me and they'll say, oh, Laddu. I thought that was it. They didn't call me Laddu in the show. That was my wife. I was called Buddu. Do you know what I mean? At least get it right. And then they come up to say, oh, we love the Mr. Khan show. It's not called Mr. Khan show. It's called Citizen. Little things like that. But yeah, it got irritating because I remember I was coming back from Morocco on an aeroplane and my baby is fair skin like me, but blue eyes as well from my wife's side. And
she's also
she's Pakistani, but she has also some white in her. She's quarter white. So we've got a few of the genes from everywhere. So he looks like a white baby. I was holding my baby, and some people came up to, can my son have a picture with you? And I went, sure. Took a picture with the son. And then the son turns to the parents and he says, why is Amjad's baby a Christian?
The son said that?
Yeah, little kid.
Wow.
Why is Amjad's son a Christian? It's like, what is that? It was difficult. It's weird. And then obviously it's phased out a bit now, and people recognize me more now from the shows I do, the theaters, and also I do a lot of TikTok material, a lot of Instagram videos where people recognize me from. Because I remember when I did it, when I did Citizen Khan, my social media following wasn't great because people knew me as Amjad. They didn't know me as Abdullah Afzal. All the social media following I've got now is people who know me as Abdullah Afzal, which is nice. I like people who recognize me for my work now, rather than a show that I was in someone else's writing, someone else's direction, show it was my performing. But, so it's nice now to kind of be away. There's a lot of talks about going back to Citizen Khan and do you want to do it again and stuff. And I'm not sure I would. I'm not sure I would.
So Citizen Khan was, what you were saying in the community as well, was sort of in the middle. It was not like, people were not like really loving it, but it was also like really controversial.
I think it was really loved by some people and really hated by, there was no middle ground.
Okay.
There was no one who just liked it a bit and watched it. No, you either loved it or you absolutely hated it. And we felt it, I remember, and some of our people are idiots because there's a certain way, if you don't like it, don't watch it. Maybe tweet about it, maybe say something. But we were filming our scene and they came pulled up in cars with eggs, and they tried to throw eggs at Adil Ray, Mr. Khan and stuff, but didn't hit the eggs on them. Do you know who they hit the eggs on? We had I think she was 82 at the time, year old actress, old woman, white woman, egged her. She was hit with eggs. What does that say about our people?
But why is this? I think it's a very interesting point. Why is this behavior? Because this is one. And one other you said, people at the airport mocking, and it's just sometimes wo funniness se na, you go into some other zone in which you're like, hey, bro, what are you even doing?
I think,
where is it coming from?
I think a lot of people just don't have basic manners. We know that. They just don't have basic manners. They've got their parents are hardworking, their mum's always in the kitchen, the dad's always out working. The kids have not been brought up properly. I see it all the time still in our community. There's a lot of kids that they just don't know right from wrong. And it's something that happens,
And they have not learned in the unis and...
Well, eventually. I always think when they get into the 20s, they learn. I know loads of people who are fantastic people, but I knew them as teenagers. And as teenagers, they were donkeys. They were the worst people in the world. Really, I could not imagine them being the same person. So you have to learn, but they got their education from somewhere else. They didn't get it from their parents. That's why it's important as parents that we, make sure our kids have this in them. What's right, what's wrong. If you don't, it opens up. And the crime as well. If you look at the crime, the papers, the crime statistics, Pakistani people are very high on the crime scene now because of that. It's because there seems to be a lack of relationship between the father and the kids. Father's always working. You come to this country to give opportunities to the kids. They think we're going to work really hard, make as much money so they can have a good education, so they can get what they need. But the main ingredient to raising a child is the actual father connection you have with them. Financially, only goes a certain way, and they miss out. There's a lot of children in our area still that are missing that basic love and relationship with their fathers, and it affects it. We know there's a lot of talk about the same with the African American communities in America back in the 90s and 2000s, where it was the same kind of thing. They were missing that fatherly figure, and that's why there was a lot of crime and stuff. And it's the same in our communities, and we need to get on top of it. I think the next generation is much better. This is where the hybrid model comes. We've taken a lot from our British kind of values, as well as our Pakistani culture and our Muslim heritage, and we're bringing it all together. And we're raising kids with my children, I'm very hands-on. I've changed all their nappies. I show them love all the time. Kisses before bed, hugs. I take them out all the time. I leave my wife. I cook dinner sometimes. And, a lot of people say, oh, look at you, what's happened to you? But Islamically, it's what you should be doing anyway. These people, and they don't understand that. And I think that's important. I've got a relationship with my kids where they know that they have two parents that they can come to. I think that's important. You need that. There's certain things that the mum can give, there's certain things that the dads can give, but you just need to make sure you're present. And I think the only reason I can do that is because of my dad's sacrifices. So me and my dad, our relationship is good, close, but it wasn't close, if you know what I mean. No hugging, no kissing, like not that kind of closeness, because he was always working. But it's because of his hard work that I was able to get an education, that I was able to go out and be in a position I'm in. So, as much as it's a hard line, because at some point I'm saying they need that relationship, money's not everything. But at the same time, I understand why he did it. And I was one of the lucky ones that was able to get a lot of education from my siblings, from my mum as well, that, what's right and wrong. And I never fell into too much wrong. But there's kids around me that just lost their way. They're in prison or even dead. I know a few that have died through violence,
Talk to me a little bit about the Pakistani-British representation in the media. As you said, like after the Citizen Khan, the girls who were not even Pakistani were offered the role of doing a lesbian, characters. And if, like, when I was studying film, I was like, okay, like I really want to see like a Desi sort of, shows and things like that, or like the music. But like as an example, when you look at the BBC Three, it's more Bollywood than the Asian channel. You know what I mean? Like a lot of like host, if you also see, like, where is the problem? Because like if you see England, like generally it's a very multicultural, probably on some places it's like Muslim dominated. But if you talk about the British Pakistani identity in the film or in the media world, it's not like Riz Khan and like how many actors you can tell. And especially when they were, I think, also starting their career, the films they got to do, like, So how do you see it now?
It's getting a lot better. It's getting a lot better. I think I'm seeing a lot of people get opportunities now that weren't there for when I started off. And they're doing very well, and especially in the comedy sector, there's a lot of Muslims, a lot of Pakistanis as well, who are just going for it. They see people like Tez, Ilyas, Guz Khan out there doing very, very well, and they want to part of it. And they go in and they're taking risks, and there's the taboos kind of gone. Like now, when I was growing up, I remember my dad saying to me, "Which Pakistani do you know that's doing well in British media?" He said that to me, saying that, look, they're not going to give you a chance. Why are they going to give you a chance? You're a Pakistani boy. They're going to give it to a white person. Now that's gone, because if my dad said that to me today, I'd say, well, there's this person, there's that person. There's a lot of people out there now. But I do think it's diluted, definitely, because when we're creating content for TV, we have to consider the whole audience. And so we have to consider the white audience, the black audience, the Jewish audience, the Muslim audience, everyone. So it can't always be completely true to our culture. It's like scripts. My God, one thing that I think I excel in is script writing, comedy script writing, film, TV. Right? I've submitted so many scripts that I've even got to the level of they paid me to write a series, but it's so frustrating because I write one that's true to my upbringing, my experiences, proper British Pakistani film or comedy show, and I pitch it and they say, why don't you just write about something you know? I said, this is what I know. No, what you know.
But what are they expecting?
My dad's a terrorist. My sister's a lesbian, and so my dad beat her to death. Arranged marriage, grooming. This is what they want. This is what they want.
Like still in this time and age when there is like Google and ChatGPTs and
still.
But is that like ignorance, or is it like that's what they wanted to hear? Because there are two different things.
Both. I think at times it's ignorance, and at times it's what sells. Still at this time, they don't really want a Muslim or Pakistani protagonist. They want a Pakistani antagonist. They want negative stereotypes. And I could very easily go away and write a story about how a Muslim kid who was really good started hanging around in the mosque with some bad guys and then started plotting to bomb the Tower of London, and they'd probably make it. But if I do about a Muslim guy who was getting racist abuse and but still fought it off and became a doctor and saved lives, they'd say, doesn't sound very interesting. Do you know what I mean?
Then also, like, Because we have also not seen a British Pakistani production companies as well. Like, especially people on the top or like, okay, theek hai, the Goras are doing this. Theek hai, there is a Muslim maybe identity that's like still intact. Theek hai, usme bhi like there's a bit of a delusional stuff. But like, why are we unable to sort of step up and start producing things? I know Riz also started the production house and like few other maybe actors, but because that's the only then way, like, like build your own castle rather than so why are we not doing that?
Lack of funds, lack of investment, I think. For me, I've got my own production company, opened it this year. Simple, Abdullah Afzal Productions. That's not very creative. But the only thing I could do is the pantomimes and the comedy tours that I'm doing. That's all I can afford within my budget to do. And I have to bring charities and sponsors on board to be able to do it. But next year, I'm planning on doing the movie. I've written it 3 years ago called Haldi and Milk. And it's based, and this is something I really wanted to do. It's a British guy going over, it sounds traditional, but it's not, to meet a Pakistani girl, shadi. But he doesn't want to marry someone from back home. She's going to be a freshie, a tep. Don't want to. But he goes there, he really likes her. She doesn't like him, reverse. But he says things about Pakistan very negatively. So she says, okay, let me show you Pakistan. And the movie is about not only them two finding each other, but also for the audience and for the character from England, seeing the real Pakistan, the beauty of Pakistan, going around Murray and, all the beautiful places in Pakistan and being, just selling it, the beauty of it. Because that's what happened to me when I went. The only time I went was in the village. And I just had jalab for half the time. Machar, I was scared of every insect, other frogs coming through the door. I never wanted to go back. But then when I went to Islamabad as an adult, and, Isa and them, they took me around Pakistan. I was like, what an amazing country. What a beautiful country that my parents came from, and falling in love with it again. I want to do that in film, but I have to find the funds, the investment myself, because no one else is interested. I took it to the BBC writers' room. It went to the last thing. They emailed me and said, yeah, we've gone with something else, but I still want to make it. This is an obsession of mine now. But the problem is I wanted to play one of the roles, and he's only 30 years old. And slowly, I'm getting out of the thing. I mean, in Bollywood they do it. Only Shah Rukh Khan still plays 20-year-olds, so why not? Yeah. But that's the dream, and I think you have to do it yourself. At this point, you still have to do it yourself. It's still not as accessible as you would like it to be.
And how is the crowdfunding sort of area here? Like, do you think you can fund through that or no?
Pakistanis are Pakistanis, isn't it? So my main audience will be Pakistanis. If I say
they don't want to give money.
If I say to him, look, there's an orphan child in Pakistan, I need £1 million. I reckon in 6 months I can get £1 million. I really do. But if I say to him, I need £1 million, I'm making a movie about Pakistan, they not only turn off, they come find me so they can beat me up. Do you know what I mean? There's very different priorities here. And that's when the Gore or, the non-Pakistanis come in, because there's certain people that would love to be part of that film, and they would probably help with the crowdfunding. But to get the amount of budget that I want, it's difficult.
How much money do you think you need to make a really good, solid film in Pakistan as a British Pakistani production?
So the film that I've got, we've costed it out with certain people, and it's £350,000 would get it done. That's filming here and over there.
And what kind of an actors you will be casting?
Well, for me, I don't believe in getting big superstars. I feel like giving people a chance, and I think that's what it would be about. Going to Pakistan, doing casting there, getting new people from Pakistan, and also from here. Obviously, I have to be in it, but new. I like to see new faces and new talent come through, because that's what you have to do your part.
True.
And it's just, I just think even the director needs to be someone that I can speak to and understand the same difficulties that we share. That's a common ground, and just make a really good film. And I don't care if that person don't like the film. If I like the film, that's what's important to me. And I'll make something true. And that's kind of become my kind of thing now. So I'm hoping after the Pantos, and that there's a bit of money left on the side that I can put into that film and do it next year. That is the plan for the summer, inshallah.
And did you watch Jemima Khan's film? What did you thought of that? In terms of representation and everything, what did you thought of? How would you rate it?
It isn't representative of my, where I am. I don't know. It's a hard one. It's still enjoyable. I still enjoy it. The thing is, one of my good friends did that, and Jeff Mirrors, that you played the father. So I watched it and supported him, and I thought it was good. I love Jemima Khan. It's good, but it's written by Jemima Khan. It's not the same as if it was written by someone like me. It would be very different. But I think she did a good job. It was an enjoyable movie, and I just got to take it for what it is.
And how's your comedy world? So how do you get the work? So in UK, because in Pakistan, we don't have a lot of stand-up comedy stuff. In India, it's it's massive. I mean, in Pakistan, we have, which is probably in Karachi or something. But how is it here? And then how is the representation? And then can you have a life, can you make a proper money in that as a full-time job?
So the first thing you need to know about me is in 2012, I stopped doing mainstream stand-up comedy. I only do it for Desi audiences.
Okay.
I only do it for Muslim audiences now. So I decided that because clubs and pubs, alcohol, swearing, sexual innuendos, I couldn't do it anymore. I was so conflicted again with Islam, Muslim, my parents watching this, I couldn't do it. So I fell into Muslim and Muslim stand-up, and which Muslims are going to come watch stand-up. Between 2015 and now, I have seen the evolving Muslim audiences. It's gone from, I remember 2015, Uncle G's, Tablighi Jamaat guys sat in the front, not knowing when to laugh, find something funny, don't know what to do, to now sitting in the front rows with their wives, clapping and laughing. This is the evolving. It's amazing, and it's I never thought I'd be able to make any money into it, but alhamdulillah, it's my main job. It's what I do. It's where I make most of my money now. Muslim audiences, Muslim comedy. There is a part of me that wants to go to mainstream because I've developed a lot as a comedian, and I think there's a way of doing it without swearing and without sexual innuendos and etc. But for those that I know, friends of mine that are still in the mainstream comedy, they're smashing it. They're doing great. The thing about the comedy scene is there's very little right-wing interference. It's very easy to express yourself. Audiences don't care about your skin color or, your religion or anything. They don't. The people who are after comedy are after comedy. If you give them comedy, they're happy. And people like Guz Khan, Tez Ilyas, you got Ramesh, the Sri Lanka guy, Ramesh Ranganathan, smashing it. You got people like K Kurd coming in, he's Kurdish. A new Farhan Solo is a new kid that started. He's smashing it now. Fatiha Al Ghori, a hijab wearing Moroccan. I remember her first 2-3 gigs, where she's come from, where she's gone in such a short moment. It shows that there are opportunities and there's less discrimination, I think. But maybe I'm ignorant because I've been out of the mainstream for long, but she's smashing it. And there's so many good examples. When I was growing up, I could not think of one Muslim stand-up comedian. Not one.
Wow.
Not one. And now I know all of them and they're friends.
Do you also think the role of social media also sort of changed it and help it?
I think it's social media and just education. The next generation.
Social media in terms of if you have a following on social media, it's helping a lot?
Yeah, I think so. I think you have to be, in this day and age, comedians have to have it on social media. Even the comedians that are getting 3 views, they're still pushing material out because the more social media following you get, the more chance you have to excel in stand-up because you could sell your tickets. And when you do, you're not going to do a live tour if you've got 17 followers on social media. You start doing it when you've got 150,000 followers and you start doing 200-seater venues. That's how you have to do it. It's like anything. You have to build an audience. You have to build your audience. And, like Tez, for example, he calls his fans Tesbians, I think. Does he? Yeah. Yeah, he does. So, he's built that over the years. I remember when he had, 2,000 followers and now he's got 280,000 followers. Same with Guz Khan. He was a teacher. He decided to get into stand-up comedian. He just did a few YouTube videos that were quite popular. And now he's in Netflix films and TV shows. And the comedy space is thriving. It's thriving and it's only going to continue to get better. But the thing is those of us that think we're just going to get in because we're Pakistani and there's something different, that's gone now because they're all coming through. The gates have opened for all sorts of Pakistani, Indians, Muslims, Jews. Everyone is in the comedy section. They all get along and they're all friends. And
then how do you see the, not really a conflict, but a triangle of a British Pakistani, a Pakistani, and then a British Pakistani, and then a Muslim identity. So how do you tackle all of this? Or sometime does it get also sort of not really confused, but like that does also have a problem, because a lot of times either you're just a British Pakistani, but you also have a strong Muslim identity as well. And then there is a British sort of tadka as well. So
what you've just said is what comedians would go out and say on stage. Like, this is, and they would explain it and they would make it into a joke. Because we're Muslim, we're confidently Muslim, comfortably British. We're Pakistani. That's one of the main things about us. We just bring it all together. We're just like some sort of weird, it's like these cars now. You get electric cars, you get, hybrids, you get all sorts of, we've got everything. We take petrol, diesel, electric, with everything. We're just running with it, and we've kind of created our own identity. We are British Muslim Pakistanis, and all three of those things are important to who we are and what we are as people, and we're quite good at expressing that. We're just different. We're not like our parents, and we're not like our British counterparts that have been born, that are English. We're just our own. It's a little bit like the Italians in America. The way they came over and how they were perceived, mafia and all that kind of thing. And now they're just, it's hard to tell that they are. That's one thing that worries me, though. We don't want to lose our Pakistani culture and our Muslim identity. It's happened to the Italians, a lot of them. It can happen here as well. For example, my kids cannot speak a word of Urdu, Punjabi, nothing.
Are you teaching them or no?
How can I teach them? I can just about speak it myself. But there's just no one that speaks it anymore, because our elders, as they slowly disappear, we're losing it a little bit. There are kids. I've done teaching in the past as well. Pakistani kids don't understand a word of it. Don't understand, not a word. No idea. If you ask them what the capital of Pakistan is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that's going to be the next generation coming through. So it's interesting times. But yeah, we're losing it a little bit. And it'd be a real shame to lose that, because this generation that I'm in now, it's so funny being British Pakistani and understanding both cultures. It's just hilarious.
Yeah, there's so much
all the content we do is just based on that. It's just best. I did content recently that went viral where it was about a British man ringing his wife that he's got married to in Pakistan and try to have a romantic chat, and he's like, cake on the ope. Do you know what I mean? I just tried to think, what you wearing, capre, which capre, like that kind of thing. And that's the kind of comedy that we all love and laugh at this generation. But I feel like it's completely getting lost in that. My kid I showed them the video, no understanding of what's going on, and that's a shame. So yeah, I think the problem is it's up to us to teach the next generation, but we can't even teach ourselves. So we're in a bit of a limbo here. But
what's the most funniest sort of thing about being a British Pakistani, which you mostly use in your jokes?
Do you know what?
Like a signature sort of other stuff.
For me, I play on stereotypes. So I love the fact that, people think, when the cousin marriages, for example, I do a joke where I say, imagine getting married to your cousin, your wife's looking beautiful with her makeup on. You go to sleep, she takes her makeup off. You wake up and you look at her and you're not sure if it's your wife or it's your cha-cha. That kind of thing. And I love playing on some of the stereotypes. I do this thing where I do a Pakistani test and I say to him, do you know a relative that's a builder? They go, yeah. Do you know a relative that's a doctor? Yes. Do you know a relative that's, whatever? Yes. But do you know a cousin that's your wife? Like, yes. Oh, no. They're like that kind of thing. So we just play stereotypes because people think we're backwards. We're not. This is just something that we've learned and we've seen, and it's hilarious. And not only that kind of thing, just the Pakistani aggression, the way our parents are. We love our parents, but the jutti comes out and we're running. They've never experienced that. I always say, with my kids, I say to them, you're being naughty, sit on the naughty step. My dad would kick me down the naughty steps. It was just different. The chuppal and it's going. That part of it's going. Coming home and smelling the salan. Trying to run out the house with your coat without going to the kitchen because you're going to smell for the rest of the evening. It's all going. Going into a house and coming home from school and smelling proper Desi food cooking. It's going. My kids come home and they're smelling lasagna. That's what they want. It's gone, and it's so sad because like my memories of my mum is that of coming home from school when it's really cold and smelling that she's got, cooking something in the kitchen, and my dad's at work, and, going mosque in the evening. My kids, I don't send them mosque in the evening. I send them on the weekend for 2 hours, because always too much on the weekdays is too much. It's going to affect their education. We did it, but for our kids, we can't do it. I can't. My kids are, I can't be aggressive with them. Telling them off. I have to do it in a really nice way. My dad would throw jutti from it. His aim was unbelievable. He would go around corners and find me. Do you know what I mean? We don't do that. It's all going, and people always look at that as a negative stuff. But for me, they're core memories of coming home from a parents' evening, and my dad saying to my brother, "How was his parents' evening?" And my brother saying, "Really bad. It was terrible." And then my dad chasing me up the stairs with the jutti, and me quickly trying to lock the toilet door. And it's scary at the time, but it's brilliant. It's my memories, and it's stuff that no one else is going to experience now. It's kind of gone. And it sounds weird. I bet if any white people are watching this, going to say, "Your dad did what?"
Yeah.
But it's normal. It was so funny. And, I love being Pakistani. I love being British. And I love being Muslim. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Abdullah, thank you so much for taking time out. I think didn't thought that this conversation would be this much interesting, but I really enjoyed it. And I think so far, probably this is one of the best conversations in my UK tour.